You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome. We're so happy to have you here. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You. Lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. I'm your host, your producer, director, and broadcast engineer. This show is all about learning, education, lessons from people from around the world who are at the top of their game, leaders in their field. I've hand-chosen my team of charter presenters, and they have 6 shows every week where they can come on and present. It's also an opportunity for the general public to present their expertise. So whether you're part of my team or you're just somebody who knows that they're at the best of their career or their knowledge, their learning, and they want to give back, please do join us. Go to abetteryou.tv and book your session. Today we have 3 superstars who are with us, and they are going to share some of their knowledge with us in a 15-minute lesson. Let's bring them out. We've got Ben Chai, Doctor Who of Business. Woo! We've got Mariska. Hello. And we've got Hiett Ives. Welcome.
Welcome.
So good to see all of you. I just want to announce to the public that Doctor Who of Business is on a roll. He was here earlier today and did 2 presentations that were outstanding. I don't want to put any pressure on anyone, but he walked us through a YouTube channel, and actually it was mine, how to do thumbnails, how to do the title, the description, what's important for search engine optimization. And then he gave another lesson in a completely different field about angel investors. So Doctor Who, I don't even know what you're going to present today, but welcome back. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, today I'll be sharing about, it's kind of an excerpt from a bigger talk that I gave a while back on the 8% of people who are highly successful in their fields. And I'll be talking in this particular session about how they're self-aware, how they become self-aware, how they deal with their blind spots, and how they deal with areas where they'll self-sabotage.
Sounds fascinating. And yesterday you gave 2 presentations on public speaking, how to prepare before you get there, and then what to do once you do get there. So I'm looking forward to this one. Mariska, welcome.
Thank you. I did notice, just a warning up front, my internet is going in and out. So just in case if you guys lose me, I'm so sorry.
Okay. What will your lesson be on today?
My lesson for today is part of my mindset series, and we are looking at the mind and body and how they interact and what they do and how they communicate with one another.
Fascinating. And I should mention that our today is really your tomorrow, which is your today. All right.
Exactly. I'm from the future. What can I say?
And Hiett, welcome back. What will you be presenting today?
How that became a reality.
That ain't not right.
That ain't not right.
Use and abuse
of the English language. How it became a reality and how listeners can produce one of these themselves.
All right. I love it. 3 fantastic presentations. Okay. Before we begin, I really love to do this. I want to spotlight each of you. Ben, you have accomplished so much. You're constantly putting yourself out there, helping other people. You are an entrepreneur of many, many companies. You are an actor. You are an author. You are a dancer. You're over on Clubhouse, changing things every day. Tell us what I've missed, please.
Yeah, I don't know what you've missed. I think the challenge for many people is somebody gives them a label and they live that label. It might even be perhaps that they believe in star signs and they think, oh, I'm a Leo, that means I'm a leader and I'm this and that. And they get locked into that label rather than thinking, actually, I can do anything and achieve anything I want. It may the thing is, you can do it all, but you have to do it one at a time. And so this is the challenge many people have. And for me, I've just never believed any of those labels. I've just used those labels to help other people understand me. But after that's about it. And the problem with me describing myself is then tomorrow, all of those labels will have gone and I'll be doing something else. So I don't know.
Thank you, Ben, Dr. Who of Business. Ben and I actually met on Clubhouse, and he's helped me immeasurably. Everybody here on the stage has helped me, so thank you. Mariska is going to do her presentation second. Mariska and I met at the Goal Imagery Institute, where we got our certifications for coaching, but Mariska went a step further, and she's the eternal optimist. She's also referenced in my book, Behind the Green Screen. She worked with me for about 9 months to come up with a plan to leave the corporate world and go out on my own. What am I missing, Mariska?
Well, as Ben said, we are always changing and creating our own reality. So putting yourself in a box feels a little bit limiting. The thing that I am very excited about at the moment and that I am working on and looking into more is the way that the brain works, neuroscience, as well as just silence and how that can transform our world. So yes, that's where I am in my journey at the moment. And I hope that the lesson that I will share today with you guys on our mindset, as well as how that impacts our body and how our body can impact it, will be illuminating so that you can literally physically place yourself where you want to be.
Woo! I love it. Fantastic. Thank you. And Hiett, the way I met you was I was working at a television station, and we had somebody call in. She had a book. This isn't the book. This is the book cover, but it's all about Abella. And so I thought it was interesting. So I contacted her to see if she wanted to be on this show. And she wasn't, not this show, but one of my shows. She wasn't able to make it. So she referred me to Diane Floyd Boehm, who then introduced me to Red, who then introduced me to Hiett. And Hiett gracefully, generously edited my book. And he is an author in his own right. He has been a really good friend. He's got a lot of great ideas. He's got expertise in the event industry. He also has expertise in grammar, the use and abuse of the English language, which he's going to talk about today. He's a Toastmaster, and he's very involved in the community and with the church, and he's just a very good person. So, Hiett, what am I missing?
About 2 years ago, I helped put together a series of television programs, half-hour TV episodes for seniors by seniors, where we interviewed 4 prominent seniors. And we've had, with COVID and other barriers, had difficulty getting it distributed. As of literally yesterday, we will be starting a pilot program of putting those 4 episodes, 16 interviews, into the 9 Brookdale senior living facilities on the west side of Houston. So I am officially in the senior market.
Fantastic. And I should also add in just quickly that Hiett introduced me to Mike Boise and introduced me to Earl. It just goes on and on. So I digress. But thank you to all 3 of you for your generosity, your kindness, your friendship, and now the lessons that you're going to present. So, Dr. Who, are you ready? Uh-oh, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I have a microphone I can turn off and on. So I was going to see if I could give this without saying anything.
Oh. Okay.
As Mariska was saying, she's learning about silence. I was just wondering if I could just do hand gestures and, see if I can give a talk with, yeah, absolutely.
Well, you told us in your presentation yesterday the importance of hand gestures, that people who use their hand gestures get noticed more often, I guess, or they get more attention paid to
Sure.
them. So,
Yeah, and moving around, that's right.
all right. I'm going to take everybody off stage. I'm going to put up your deck and the timer, and then we'll let you go. All right?
Great. Thank you. Hi. So this is Ben Chime, the Doctor Who of business, because I find unusual solutions to very challenging problems. In this talk, I'll be sharing an excerpt from a talk I gave. It was actually several hours, this talk, on the top 8% of people who are successful on this planet and the reasons why they're successful. So in this aspect, I'll be sharing that the top 8% of people are self-aware, they are able to deal with their blind spots, and they know how to deal with the way they self-sabotage. So those are the three areas that we're going to be covering. I will give you some example. If it's a business that you're running, you may be thinking, okay, I've got to learn administration, I've got to learn sales, I've got to learn accounts, I've got to learn marketing, branding, just a whole set of skills. And a friend of mine, he used to do literally everything. He had a team of people there. There were 30 people in the company, I think, at the time. And, I asked him, why don't you let XYZ do the purchasing? And he said, well, I always get the best deals. But for me, if he spent more time on sales, for example, than saving money from the procurement, then that would balance it out. Even if he earned less on the procurement side, but he would maximize on the sales side. So we all have these issues. His issue was micromanagement, and that's why he was always locked into his business. Today, he lives a totally different life. We managed to outsource every one of those roles, including being a managing director and CEO. So now he just gets a passive income stream from his business, which is really the areas that I love. And I love building passive income streams for myself in my life in a variety of areas. Now, the way that you're able to become self-aware and figure out your blind spots takes a little while. So when I used to look at potential business partners, I'd be thinking, let's get together and let's write out what we think our strengths and weaknesses are. And then we would write these down for ourselves, and then we would ask the other person to write them out for us. I didn't know that at the time that particular exercise is called the Johari's window. And in the Johari's window, you literally have people that are close to you to tell you about you, how you come over as a person, what they think your strengths are, and so on. So these are very, very important aspects, and you must not respond. So whatever they say, it's thank you. If they say, well, I think you're a bit of an idiot in this area, the answer is thank you. It's no, you don't reply, well, the way I behave like that is because of X, Y, Z. So this is very, very important. The Johari's window, getting feedback from other people about what they think about you. So you could ask these questions. I'd like to do a Johari's window on what you think of me as a business person. So they will give their feedback, and you can think about it. The next way to work out who you are and the areas that you might self-sabotage on and potential blind spots is to do a lot of these personality tests. So there are many out there that you can do for free. For example, the Myers-Briggs test, the Enneagram test, the DISC test, and the Big Five. Those are 4 which you can find free online to do these tests. Now, they do take a little while, between half an hour to an hour of your time, and lots of these tests are yes and no. At the end of those tests, they will give you a summary about what they think your strengths are and what they think your weaknesses are. I like people that I'm working with and my team players to do at least 2 of those tests. The reason I like them to do at least those 2 of those tests is because I want to correlate the outcomes and the results. You see, Myers-Briggs will give you an output. It might say you are ENTP, for example. And I really can't remember what all the labels are, but essentially they might say that, hey, you're an introvert or an extrovert. That's the E. So INTP would be an introvert. ENTP is an extrovert. And I really means that you get your energy from being on your own. It doesn't mean that you're not a great public speaker or anything like that. It just means you get your energy from being on your own. I, for example, myself, I get energy from just being on my own. If I'm at a party, I need to remove myself, or I disappear every so often just to be alone, or I go to the kitchen. You'll always find me in the kitchen at parties. So these tests, they tell you a little bit about yourself, and then you can correlate the results. Now, once you've got the results, most people think, oh yeah, that's it, that's me, or that's not me, and that's it, that's the end of it. But you really want to use those results. I actually like, in terms of the free tests, the Enneagram test, because it tells you what the best person with your skill sets are, and it uncovers those skill sets. And it also tells you what the worst person you can be. So it shows you where you can be on a spectrum. The Enneagram test is just phenomenal like that, and there are consultants who will take you through that test and show you the areas where you potentially have spots where you actually didn't realize that was a weakness of yours. Finally, I'd like to share with you something called the Clifton Strengths. So this is, I'm just going to turn my face away from you guys for a second. And the Clifton Strengths is the only one that I couldn't get a free version of. The Clifton Strengths is a test which gives you 34 results of different areas of where you are probably strong, and it gives you, like, if you're number 34, that one of them, it just means that, hey, that is probably your weakest skill. So this is my result, which I did in 2020, as you can see, and you can see that my top 5 strengths are ideation, achiever, analytical, relator, and self-assurance. Now, I don't know what those are. So the great thing about the test is it just takes you down into what these different things mean. So, for example, ideation, it just means I'm fascinated by ideas. You're able to find connections between seemingly disparate phenomena. Now, this is why this particular strength is unique. So it tells me a little bit more about the uniqueness of that strength and why I would succeed using ideation. It also tells me how to take action to maximize my potential. And here's the great thing. It's now showing me the blind spots with ideation. Here's the blind spots. And finally, it'll go on to the next one, achiever, and so on. Now, each one of these has a separate report. So in addition to the report that comes with the test, you have a separate report which also says how you may come across to other people. So sometimes I can come over as very dictatorial, which is why today, because I'm aware of that I've hidden actually really hidden my dictatorial personality by outsourcing. Yes, I outsource my weaknesses to other people. So I have a great team in the property business, which I've mentioned before. We have a lady, Keely, who's our managing director. She's much better at communication in terms of not, like making everybody, you do this now. And I've got Miles, who's just a really fantastic, everybody loves Miles. And Miles, actually, I used to work with at a company I was a founder of called Net Communities. And as we had a set of journalists who I was in charge of, I used to share with Miles, hey, we should get our journalists to do this and focus on this area. And Miles would give that message rather than me kind of doing I'm very highly autistic. So rather than me just saying, you need to do this now, and why aren't you doing it here, and so on. So Miles would take on that area. So the next thing is, apart from the tests giving you these areas of blind spots, you now need to deal with it. Because this is an area where I would self-sabotage. I would lose potentially partners and employees who are working with me if I was continually dictatorial. And we see this in so many businesses where people have teams and so on, where they've just I don't know, they just continually sabotage themselves. We know, for example, top salespeople. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my mouse to work and stop the sharing of the screen so you can see me, but I can't see my mouse, so that's a pain in the neck. Oh, thank you so much, Dr. J. So really, you need to deal with those blind spots and deal with your self-sabotage. Now, I've worked and heard and listened to some coaches who say, you need to get good at that. You need to get good at this. You need to get good at... I don't have the time to be a top salesperson, a top marketing person, a top journalist, a top accountant. It is far better for me to outsource a lot of these components to other people. If it is a business you're running, the only thing you ever really want to be totally in charge and knowledgeable about is your finances. That is the one area where I'd say, okay, you may have an accountant do the work, but you want to be in charge of that cash flow. All the rest, as a business person, I have sales skills, I have branding skills, I have marketing skills, but I don't really want to do any of that work. And the weakest areas that I have, I will want to outsource to other people, either to contractors or to other directors or to employees. So I hope this little talk has given you some ideas on how you can get yourself into the top 8% of people who are successful on this planet by being a bit more self-aware and using some of these tests, such as the Myers-Briggs, the Enneagram, the DISC, and the Big Five, and the Clifton Strengths, and also use the Johari's window to get feedback on what people think of you. Remember, in Johari's window, please do not attack people for giving honest feedback, because otherwise they will never give you that honest feedback again. And when you're dealing with those blind spots and the self-sabotage, remember that it's much easier to outsource and give it the other people to deal with it, rather than learning and becoming this kind of, honestly, this super person who can do everything, but you'll probably run out of energy at some point. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And I hope this particular episode will help you understand your strengths and weaknesses.
Well done, Doctor Who. Again, pages and pages of information. I never heard of Johari's window before. I hate to say, I looked it up while you were talking. I wrote it down. But enough about me. I want to hear from our panel. So I'm going to start with you, Hiett. Any feedback you have for Doctor Who?
Absolutely fantastic insight into how we need to simplify what we're doing and focus on our strengths. And as he said, outsource our weaknesses. Too many too many in the past have said, you need to strengthen your weaknesses. You need to work on your weaknesses. No, you need to work on your strengths and outsource your weaknesses.
That's so true. Thank you, Hiett. So true.
Thank you, Hiett.
When you
Mariska?
focus on your strength, you just get better and better, and that becomes your superpower.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mariska?
Well, as you said, Dr. Jacalyn, pages and pages of notes. I also have not heard of the Johari's window, so that would be great to go and explore a little bit more. In addition to that, I love the fact that the focus is on what you're really good at and being able to, the things that you don't enjoy doing and not good at doing, give to somebody that is good at doing it, right? It actually saves you twice. One, it saves you from learning it. And two, it saves you time because you won't be able to do it as well as the other person in any case. So that was really, really insightful. And I think I need to make a few notes of areas I need to outsource.
Can I share something about my accountant? Yeah,
Sure.
I can sift through my receipts and I can put them in date and all that, but she just gets really angry when I do that. She said, Ben, I love doing this. And I actually don't like doing it, but I keep thinking, I'll just try and make it easier for my accountant. But she says, no, I love doing it. And this is the whole thing. Why not outsource things that perhaps you don't like to people who are passionate about it?
Yes, well said. Something I wanted to mention about the tests, having been in the corporate world for my whole career until last year, I took all those tests. I'm actually certified in DISC, but I've never had anyone do what you talked about with the Johari's window, where people give you feedback of how they see you. I've had performance reviews, but I've never had that done. I think that's really valuable information.
Yes, thank you. And DISC is a wonderful, wonderful test, by the way. As I said, I've used each of these tests to locate my strengths and weaknesses up. And I do love correlating them to work that out and then use them for your benefit. Like I said, a lot of people look at these tests and then they just label themselves and that's it. It's like, what? Why did you bother doing the test?
Right. Valid points. Thank you so much. We are going to go to a commercial break, and then when we come back, Mariska, will you be ready to go?
I will.
All right. We're just going to hear from one of our sponsors, and then we'll be right back.
Have you just lost your job or have been laid off and you are looking to transition to a new job or career? Maybe you have even tried submitting tons of applications and yet you keep getting turned down for jobs you qualify for. Don't wait until you become overwhelmed with rejections when you can easily transition or get your dream job. Let MJW Careers guide you to the right career path and a better, brighter future. At MJW Careers, we know what hiring managers are looking for, and our goal is to land you the job you deserve. What makes MJW Careers a wonderful provider over other services is our pragmatic and scientific approach to resume writing. There are rules, there are visual cues, there are content best practices. We understand those and work within the boundaries to ensure our clients' messaging appeals to the decision makers. Our career consultants will help you transition into new roles quickly and effectively. With our experience in virtually every industry, we will provide direction in the frustrating job market by helping you write a customized, professional resume and prepare you for your interview as well. Join the great number of people we have helped scale up to greater things in their careers. Let us help you on your career journey. Come visit us, www.jobstickers.com, to learn more and grab a free resume review or ebook.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello and welcome back. You're watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You. Lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. And in our first segment, Ben Chai, Dr. Who of Business, gave us a fantastic I can't believe it, a third presentation for the day about how not to self-sabotage, things that the top 8% of people do, and that if we eliminate a lot of the clutter, a lot of the I have to do everything, I have to be an expert in everything, that we have a much better chance of success. We also have a comment, love this, from someone in our private women's group, and you have to give permission for us to say your name, but I met this person recently and this person is phenomenal. So thank you for watching our program. Okay, we are going to go to Mariska. Are you ready?
I am.
All right, I'm going to take us backstage, put up your presentation, and put up the timer.
Welcome, everybody, yet again. So we are going through our mindset series, and what I want to discuss with you guys today and broaden our mind on is our mindset and our body and the way that it works. So the things that we will be looking at is how the mind and the body works together, why this is important to know, and then we are going to try something out and see how it works physically. So firstly, how this works. If you think about your mind and your body, we get into routines. We get used to doing certain things. So when you think about walking, for instance, you don't think about walking anymore like you would have when you were a really, really small child just learning to walk. You automatically get up out of your chair and you walk. Something that we can all relate to is driving. So when we learn to drive initially, it is difficult. We need to figure out what to do with our feet and what to do with our hands and where to look. And it is a bit of an exercise. And then we get used to it. And you get into the vehicle and you know exactly what to do. And you can basically do it automatically, playing music, talking to friends, having all these other things happen while your body takes care of the driving. The only time when you sort of don't have only your body taking care of the driving is maybe when you go onto a new route or there's traffic and something unforeseen that happens. Then you concentrate on it a little bit more. But for the most part, your body knows the way and it just does what it does. Now, for this, knowing this, when we put our body into a certain position, what it also does is it releases chemicals that would put our thinking into a certain train of thought. So if you think, for instance, about hunching down, right, sort of rolling into a ball, and you stay in that position for a while, you will notice certain thoughts coming up. So noticing these thoughts that come up in the position that you are placing your body in is basically what happens when your body starts being in control of your mind. So the body is in a specific position, it's doing something that you didn't necessarily think of doing. And then your thinking relates to whatever the body is doing. The other part of it is true too. So if we think of something and we intentionally then place our body into that position, that would reinforce our thinking. So when we look at this wee little slide, there's a saying that we make our habits and then our habits make us. So that's literally what happens with the body and the brain. You will think about a way that you want to do something. Say, for instance, tying your shoes. You will learn a specific way of tying your shoes. And over time, the way that you tie your shoes will become a habit. And you will always do it the same way. Now, there's a variety of different ways of tying your shoes. And you can change the habit if you want to. You need to be conscious of it, though, and aware of what it is that you are doing. So this, if we think about this in our life and business environment, might look like the following. I have a habit of going to work, getting to my PC, and the very first thing I do is go through all my emails. Doing that makes me very, very anxious because I see the mountain of work that I have, and everybody else's priorities become my priority at that point in time, which makes my day frantic, and I run around like a mad person. I'm always busy, but I don't feel like I get anything done whatsoever. This has become a habit. Every day I get to work, the very first thing I do is I go sit in front of my PC and look at my emails. Now I can change this habit. When I change this habit, I might get to the office, and the very first thing I do, instead of going to sit in front of my PC to look at my emails, is to bring out the important work that I want to do for that day that I have started preparing yesterday, just before I left. I bring that out and I start on that for the first hour of my day. Then, after that, I might go into my emails and go and have a look at what everybody else needs me to do and what else is there on the schedule for the day. Doing this, I now feel more productive and relaxed, and I feel like I'm having a better day. Doing this over time creates a habit, and of course, having this habit actually enables me to be more productive because I'm getting at least 1 hour of productive work in each day versus going through my emails and not doing anything productive for the whole day. So that's a way how these two sort of interact and how they show up within our life. Now, thinking about how all of these things happen and how it works, I want you guys to do a little experiment with me. So, as you will see on the wee little video that we have, right, with different hertz applied to the plate, the vibration changes the shape of the grains that's thrown onto the plate. So the grains arrange themselves into different shapes. And that's what our thinking physically does with our body, right? So the way we think is those vibrations, and it changes the body to do a specific thing. Now, this is when we are aware of what we think. If we are unaware of what we think, and we just leave the body to do what the body does, the body will do what we have previously trained it to do. So it will do all those bad habits that we have trained it to do for years on end without thinking. So what I want you to do for our little experiment, if this is safe and if you have space around you, I want you to stand up and get nice and erect. If you cannot stand up and you are in a seated position, make your back as straight as you can, right? Pop your chest out a little bit. Have your head nice and high. And then I want you to really feel your body. want you to experience how your body is feeling in this position. What feelings might be coming up for you, if there is any? What part of your body feels strong? Is there anything that specifically stands out? And now, when you're in this upright, nice, straight position, what do you think this is communicating for you to the outside world as well as to your inside world? Is this feeling like being proud, being confident, being able to take action, feeling strong within yourself and grounded? What's coming up for you? Now next, what I want you to do, if possible, and if you're in a position to do this, I want you to go a little bit forward, hunch your shoulders, right? Put your head down and sort of sit like that or stand like that just for a little while and feel how that feels and what it's doing to your body, what it's doing to your thinking. What's coming up in your head now that you're sitting like this, standing like this? And when you're in this position, is this a position that you would utilize when you feel courage? Or is this a position that you would utilize when you sort of want to block out the world, or you want to hide away and not be seen? And not to leave us in that hideaway place, I would like you guys to get up again with the shoulders nice and back straight, head up, chest out. Here you go. Ready to face whatever comes at us. And just feel the difference between the being almost in a ball versus being upright and straight for your body, and then for your thinking and your being. And that's the difference for looking, when you look at your body and your mind, how they interlink with one another. And throughout our day, we do this. So I would like to leave you with these 3 questions you can ask yourself. Is the thinking that I am at the moment applying from my thinking or from my body? So is it the position that I'm in that's causing the thinking, or am I actually thinking this? How am I holding my body? Just notice. Not being judgy, just notice. How am I holding my body? And what thinking am I generating by holding my body this way? And how might holding my body in a different way change the way I think? And I will leave you with those thoughts.
Oh, who's the producer? Oh my gosh. Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
How about some feedback for Mariska? I'm going to start with Hiett.
Thank you for prepping me for my presentation. I am now pumped. I am now on top of my thought pattern, and much appreciated.
It is my pleasure, Hiett.
I just want to add one thing. We have a major storm here, so if we happen to go out, that's why. I found myself when I was standing, my legs feel very strong. I was noticing that when I was like this, my neck and shoulders are filled with tension. So that was a good exercise for awareness.
Yeah.
Ben?
I was able to stand up.
I think Mariska's right. We have so many habits in ourselves that some of them we don't even know and impact us later on. So, for example, I have a real major problem with my back, and it was because of the habit of always leaning in over my computer for decades. And suddenly, after I think it's only a few years ago, that suddenly I just got this crippling back pain where I literally could not walk. And that was the compound effect of just sitting in a bad position. And over time, it messed me up to the point where I've just not been able to walk and so on. I mean, I'm on recovery, but if I didn't know about it, if I'd dealt with it ages ago, like Mariska's saying, okay, this is what you need to do, then things would have been resolved. So thank you so much.
It is my pleasure. There's a lot of stuff for us that we carry in our body and we do with our body and we don't even notice it. And it impacts the rest of our being. So the awareness from Ben, thank you for making us aware of being aware, carries over to how we are and how we are carrying ourselves too.
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm developing a new habit. That's why in the presentations with Dr. Jacalyn, I'm always standing up. I'm trying, if I can sit down as little as possible, that I found has strengthened myself.
Yeah, I want to add to that. So, I'm standing for all the shows for at least a month now, because when I was sitting, I was getting swollen ankles for I don't know what reason. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to stand. But I changed I wear sneakers usually when I'm standing. I have 3 different pairs, so I rotate. And today I went out running. So I'm like you would think, how can you run and stand? But I think it's a new pattern of behavior. And I'm trying to hold my stomach in. I think it's better for my posture for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is. And it makes us feel good.
Yeah, I'm going to have to see how I can rearrange my office here where I can stand, because when I record on Monday mornings, I go out in my gazebo and I'm standing for the entire recording, and it's more fun. I found it more energizing to be standing. So
yes,
I'll
definitely.
see how I can do some rearranging of camera and stuff there.
Sorry, I'm cooking in the background, and my scrambled eggs was boiling over. I needed to top off it.
So is this dinner for you, Ben? Or is this our early breakfast?
Well, I haven't eaten all day, so I just thought I really need to make something.
All right, very
Scrambled
good.
eggs and kale. That's something else I needed to. I found out, Mariska, that my eating habits had to change. Kale creates more alkali in my blood system to have a more balanced blood system. Hate kale, but now I've learned to love it. What a great habit.
See that?
There you go.
All right, Hiett, are you ready to go, or should we go to commercial?
Oh, go ahead and go to commercial, and then
Okay.
Or I'm ready to go, whichever way you want to go.
All right, we'll go to commercial right now. Hear from another one of our sponsors, and it's the lovely Ashley Owens, who actually helped me get started in TV. So here we go. We'll be right back.
Networking sucks and people suck at it, but nothing gives me more life than walking around and talking to people in an audience and really being able to identify, okay, I see where you're having trouble, let's work on fixing it. How do you help them? How do you provide value? My goal is to give them those tools to be able to go out and tackle that fear. Anywhere there's coffee is where I'll be. So I bring candy a lot to my speaking engagements. Duh. Like, of course that makes sense. I'm a little unconventional. Act
She was very knowledgeable.
Very entertaining.
I learned a few new things, and to me, that's the key.
What do you want them to say? How do you want to be perceived? You're going to get the most direct, tactical tips and practical takeaways when it comes to networking. These two here are super important. You'll remember once the conversation started.
I love the tips that she gave out. I hate networking with a passion, so I feel like I can go to a meeting or event and not feel so uncomfortable.
When you're going to a presentation, you want to be educated. You also want to be entertained.
She was really fun and really personable, and everything she was saying was just very relatable.
She's got a lot of great ideas.
That will make you stand out so fast.
She comes across as someone that likes what they do and just doesn't try to sell you something.
Activity breeds results. If you're not doing anything, you're not going anywhere.
Just made me want to start networking, which I never thought I'd say before.
A networking strategy that works for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello and welcome back to our final segment of A Better You, lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. Before we go to Hiett, I have a question. Does anyone else see on the screen where it says mute mic? Did you see it during the commercials or anything? Yeah, I don't know where that's coming from. It's just stuck there on the screen. Anyway, my apologies. But Hiett, we're going to go over to you. Would you like the 15-minute timer?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
All right. Okay, so here we go. Wait for the timer.
Three, two, one, and here we go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to start this by, the old adage, tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you told them. Well, I'm going to start by talking about what you want to get passionate about, and then what you do with that passion, and then how you turn those activities into your very own book. Start with a couple of stories. First story, my father was career military. We were stationed in the UK, and he put me into a boarding school that was 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And they had an annual essay contest. I went in as a 7th grader. And the annual essay contest was the 5th graders wrote 1 page, 6th 2, 7th 3, 8th grade 4. And they had a field day at the end of the year, and a senior always won, 8th grader always won the essay contest, except the year that I came in as a 7th grader. And I won best writer in the entire school. Didn't understand that for a few years, but once I did, I said, if the British Jesuits recognize a skill, perhaps I ought to enhance that. So I did. I started to write. And my second story is the first mentor that I had. I worked for him. And he told me to write a letter to a gentleman that we both knew. And my mentor, it was going to be from him, but I was writing it. And I wrote it 2 and 3 times. And finally I said, Bill, I've written this so many times, you ought to let me sign it. And he said, Hiett, remember this. You are the more things you can have other people put their name against that you've written, the more valuable you are to them. So I remembered that and started to write company newsletters where I would have a couple of bylines. Then there were a couple of other articles. I'd usually have 3 or 4 or 5 articles, but only 2 under my byline. I would write them for the vice president of marketing, the director of operations. And they would say, well, Hiett, you wrote it, put your name on it. Well, no, they're not going to write it with my name. They're not going to read it with my name against it. They're going to read it with your name against it. So the third story is I worked for a gentleman, owned his own company, and he put out a quarterly report, and he had a cover letter, a one page, 3-paragraph cover letter. And this is the story of listening, to where when you give them what you present, they'll put their name against it. I wrote 8 of those letters. The first 2 or 3, they were very bloody. He kept bringing them back and just tearing them apart. Number 8, I was taking it to his office, ran into him and one of his kinfolk that had worked with him and for him for 15 years. I handed the president letter number 8. He read it, gave it back to me, and said, "Run with it." His vice president said, "I've never, ever, ever seen him do that." So those are some skill things. In October of 2016, I was making my introductory presentation to a networking group, 20-minute keynote speech. And of course, most people say, I'm Hiett Ives and I was born here and raised here and yada, yada, yada. I said, well, you know what? Here's what I do. Let me talk about this. So I stood up for 20 minutes and talked about that ain't not right, the use and abuse of the English language. A friend of mine in the audience, when I sat down, said, you need to capitalize on that. He said, come up with 50 names, and I'm going to teach you how to use MailChimp. So on Tuesday, October the 26th, 2016, the very first weekly That Ain't Not Right use and abuse of the English language missive went out to 50 people. The one that went out day before yesterday went out to 766 individuals. Over the almost 5 years of this newsletter, of this weekly missive, it's not really a newsletter, it's a 200-word missive. I've had as many as 1,100 people on that. Okay, so what happened was in fall of 2017, so now we're a year later, I now have 52, actually it was closer to 60 of these weekly missives in a variety of topics, on a variety of topics. So what I did, I took these 60 missives, culled out the ones that I chose not to use, came down to about 40 of them, and then arranged those 40, actually it came down to 29 to be precise, 29 of those weekly deals into 5 chapters. The strength of tense, using smaller words, punctuation rules, eliminating unnecessary words, and put this together. Really didn't have to write anything because they were all written. It was simply arranging them in the appropriate chapter, in the appropriate category. The next key thing to do is to get a publisher. Jacalyn and I both use the same publisher. She referred to him earlier. He has published both of my books, has published hers, and will be the publisher for her next one. So you want to get a good publisher and you want to get a good publicist. The publicist is the one that gets the word about this out to people. Using the right publicist, I got #1 bestseller, an Amazon #1 bestseller category for my second book, and Jacalyn got it for hers. Now, what's going to happen next? I have close to 240 of these missives now. And I have a whole bunch of additional categories. So volume 2 of That Ain't Not Right, Use and Abuse of the English Language will have things like tattoo fun, I've got a whole series of of examples of how people have both had some good tattoos and some really, really bad tattoos. Also, foreign language, the influence of foreign languages on English, from Latin, French, Greek, Chinese, Japanese. The word that I didn't even know this was how many of you can tell me what a heteronome is? A heteronome are words like read, R-E-A-D, spelled the same way as read, R-E-A-D. You know, when I got finished reading the book, I knew that I had read something interesting. Read and read, same, spelled the same way, pronounced differently. Excuse and excuse. I made an excuse, E-X-C-U-S-E. I made an excuse that allowed me to excuse myself. So these are some additional areas that are going to be included in volume 2, which I'm hoping to get out this year. So what I want to advise you to do is find something that excites you, that interests you, that you want to stay involved with on an ongoing basis. And rather than have to sit down and try to figure out how to write a whole bunch of stuff on this, put out a weekly missive, use MailChimp or some other program like that, which the beauty of MailChimp, you can write it whenever you want, but then tell the system to put it out at a specific time. Mine go out at 3:15 a.m. every Tuesday morning. Now, I sometimes have as many as 2 or 3 in the queue that I have written in advance and simply tell MailChimp to put it out at that time. Work on those, and if you want to, if in a year's time you've got enough material to put together a small book. This is relatively small. This is thin to the point that it does not have copy on the spine. My next one will. It will be much larger than this. If you want to, you can do it small like this. You can do it larger. You're going to need something in the neighborhood of, I think it's what is this? 60. This is 50 pages is about the minimum that you want to do. So put together the weekly deals, and then when you're ready, simply assemble them and put them into chapters, and figure out what those chapters. If you want to start with, here's what I'm going to write about that ain't not right, the use and abuse of the English language, and then come up with the 4 or 5 chapters that you want to have, like the strength of tense and using smaller words and so on. Then with those chapters in mind, you then produce the copy over the next weeks and months to fill those areas. I did not do that. I simply was putting out things that I enjoyed, and when it got time to write the book, because I didn't really know that I was going to write a book. When it came to time to write the book, I then chose the topics and then filled in what I had written to match the topics. So find your passion, write on it on a regular, consistent basis, small snippets, then put it all together in a cohesive message. Get a good publisher, get a good publicist, and you will then be part of that ain't not right. Well, that part of the group of people that have books to their name. I'm going to turn this back to Dr. Jacalyn with a minute and a half on my clock.
Well done, Hiett. You just gave people encouragement. Everybody has a book in them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ben, I'm going to refer to you first. Any comments you have for Hiett?
Yeah, this is a great way for people to create a book by essentially writing a small blog every week or every day. It really doesn't matter. So if your blog is 250 words or 500 words, if we look at it over, say you did it weekly, 500 words weekly, and there's 52 weeks in a year. So you've got a mini book then, and if over 2 years, you've literally got a book that's 1,000 words. That's for 52, that's 52,000 words, which is essentially a book. So yeah, absolutely break it down. If you're, I think one of the really things to highlight about what Hiett is saying is, a lot of people go into writing a book and they've got this massive thing that they want to write all in one go. And as a result of that, they give up because it's just too big. They don't treat it like a project.
So true. Many people start on a book. I hear it over and over. It's under the bed. It's in the bookshelf. It's in the kitchen drawer. And they never, that's the end of it.
We had a book writing business where we actually helped people who'd written half their books finish off their books. So, sorry, that's something else you don't know about me, Dr. J.
Well, the fun thing was, I was writing these weekly and having fun coming up with topics. And then at the end of a year, I said, oh, I can make this into a book. Hello.
And I like your starting out as well, Hiett, because when you're learning the craft of writing, to have those people mentor you and say, "Now this is rubbish," and so on, that really honed your skill set. I had the same kind of person. Her name was Maggie. Actually, I'd write these letters, and she'd just scribble all over them, telling me how rubbish they were.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, our friend Ben, we interviewed Diane Floyd Bateman. We heard what she had to say about all the advice and direction she was given, that she had no talent, and now look at her.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got to do all of that with her and her book.
Yes, that's right. I use the word "that" too much.
Yeah,
too many that's.
There are two words that you can eliminate almost entirely: the word "that" and the word "will." In any sentence that you write or read, take the word "that" and the word "will" out of it, and it will be more concise and more important, and will not change the substance at all.
Yeah. So something else Dr. J doesn't know about me is that I've been the editor for 15 magazines, online and offline in paper, and the thing that I'm constantly editing out is the verb "to be." Because it just doesn't make sense. I'm always trying to find a more descriptive verb rather than. So I'll be here. That kind of stuff. Or yeah.
Mariska, what are some things you want to tell me?
Well, I love the fact that you go with whatever it is that you're passionate about, right? Because when you think about writing, as Ben said, it feels like such a big endeavor. It's a mountain, literally. It's a whole book that I need to write. Whatever am I going to write about? But if you just go and think about what it is that you're passionate about, and you start there, and then work your way through it, and maybe make it a habit to sit down each day and write a little bit, or each week and write a little bit, and before you know it, you've got a book.
Yeah.
Oh, here we have another comment. Some great tips here. I'm just starting my second book. Yay. Yay. I know if you want us to say your name, please type in there that we can say your name, because otherwise we can't, because you're in this private group. I had a couple of comments. First of all, I'm about to start my second and third book at the same time. The third book is the arm behind the arm tattoo. So I think that's interesting that you're also writing about tattoos. So we have permission. So it's Cindy Wilcox is the one who's watching. I just interviewed her yesterday. She gave, oh my gosh, a fantastic interview. So please go over to our YouTube channel. Something else I wanted to mention. Hiett, you were talking about the weekly missive and the newsletter, which is can or cannot be. Mine has not been a newsletter. It's been a disaster, really, is what it's been. It's going to be changing. But what I wanted to ask everyone is, how do you feel when you put your content out there and people whom you know and interact with on a regular basis unsubscribe from your missive or your newsletter? Do you take it personally, or do you just, Hiett's shaking his head no?
No.
No.
I don't even follow that, I occasionally look at it and say, why in the world did that person do that? But that's their prerogative. So, I'm not gonna get bent out of shape over it.
Do you then unsubscribe from their newsletter?
I'll show them.
Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, about unsubscribing to newsletters. Honestly, I should unsubscribe from a lot more. I'm not even reading them. They are people I know and stuff, but it's wasting their chimp, and my junk mail gets full because it goes straight to junk mail. So right.
So for people who don't know, MailChimp has limits depending on how many people you have. You get pushed into a different category, which I think is more expensive. Is that right?
I wouldn't know. I'm just talking about unsubscribing to things. There's just going back to Hiett. There are so many gems and insights from what he's sharing about book writing. Apart from as Mariska said, the passion, breaking it down into small chunks, and just writing a small amount every so often, getting people to look at your work. So I know Dr. J that Hiett really helped improve your writing. Those are great tips for everybody to look at. And the other thing is don't get personal. Hiett and I both had people totally say this is terrible, rewrite the whole thing. It was so bad. I used to, as an editor, I would literally delete 2/3 of what somebody's written because it just and keep a third. And they used to get very personal about it. But all they are doing is helping you become a better writer. So,
thank you for sharing that, Ben. I just want to add that I'm in that club with you guys. When I was doing my doctoral dissertation, I had to rewrite it 118 times. I will never forget that because, he was a stickler. He told me he was going to be like that before I took him on as my mentor, but it really helps because when I was growing up, my father taught me that to sound intelligent, you should use many words. And recently, right before I retired from my corporate career, I was working for someone who was much younger. And he said, think of it as a Twitter post and the number of characters. You need to cut way back on the number of words that you're using and the size of the words.
Well, and something else, and this scared the heck out of me when I read it. When you write, you have to write at a lower level, like the 5th grade level, if you want to get a broad. And something I heard, part of the Challenger debacle and the Challenger tragedy was that the instructions were written at a 12th grade level. The workers that implemented the instructions were reading at a 5th grade level.
Yeah, this is another great gem from Hiett. When I wrote the Microsoft book, they ripped out all my jokes. They literally did that because it didn't translate well into other countries and so on. So absolutely, I was mortified, but
yeah.
Was when the Catholic Church went from Latin to the indigenous languages of the countries. Well, in a number of indigenous languages, when they translated the Latin words of the mass. Yeah, they were swear words. They were phrases used in derogatory and inflammatory. They had to do some editing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this has been a great show. Thank you, and thanks for staying late, by the way, because I know that we've run over. So, anything that somebody wants to say before I play a clip that I wanted us all to watch about a friend named Paul Connolly?
Just great lessons, Hiett and Mariska, really fantastic. Yeah, can't say anything more. They're definitely going to help a lot of people.
Thank you.
From my side, you guys are great. Thank you, and thank you. You helped me both on a personal and a professional level, and I greatly appreciate that.
And not to leave her out, Jacalyn, you're pretty good too.
Thank you. Thank you, Hiett. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I didn't want to give you a big head, so I just said you're just pretty good.
Well, no. Listen, I'm in this house, and my mom's downstairs. It's just me. I don't know. It's just me and the computer. So I appreciate you being here. Okay, so in alignment with us being better, I want to play a movie trailer from a new friend whom I interviewed on Celebrate Great Britain Royally Rich show. I have a picture of him. His name is Paul Connolly, and he has had quite a past. And this movie trailer, explains about what happened to him when he was growing up. And I think you're going to find it very moving. And then I'll just share with you quickly when we come back what he's doing today. But this movie is being released in different parts of the country already. It's not in the States yet, but it's called Big Boys Don't Cry, Paul Connolly.
That place. Those people.
We need to talk to you about your time growing up in St Leonard's Children's Home. 6 of your 8 housemates committed suicide, Mr. Connolly. I'm afraid I have to tell you that another child in your care home, Liam Carroll, has also recently taken his own life.
Jason. Andrew.
I need to find some people.
I said get out! I've got to end them! Ah!
If you'll let me spending the rest of your life in prison, boy, I'm happy to tell you what you need to know.
Wow. How about that?
Big boys, they don't cry, they don't cry. Yeah, wow, that was... I'm going to distract and go off topic for a second, Dr. J. If I can make another tip, don't let your scrambled eggs go in the background when you're on a show, because you'll burn your pan.
All good tips. All good tips. In reference to Paul Connolly, I wanted to play that because I actually interviewed him for my second book, Behind the Mask. And he grew up in that care home and was abused and had a very violent life and crime, all kinds of things. I'm not going to spoil it. But now he's a best-selling author. He helps people from all over the world. He's a healer, and they come to him, and he takes their pain away. He helps them walk. He helps them think differently, and he specializes in conditioning as a conditioning coach, and he has a production company, and the production company is the one that put out the trailer and the movie. So here's to you, Paul, and all the wonderful things you're doing in the world. He's also over in the UK.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds like you should connect with Mariska. They've got very similar kind of healing powers.
Yeah, I'll connect you guys.
Well,
that would be great.
We will celebrate our 4th of July, and I know how to also celebrate Guy Fawkes Day, which is your fireworks day.
Yeah, I mean, fireworks, that's true, Hiett.
So
since you like words, every time I see you, Hiett, since you love words and wordplay, I'll throw those in for you.
I want to say hi to Gemma and Stacy also.
I'm going to pat you on the shoulder and say, there. Y'all have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks again for staying late, and I love the fact that you guys are all connected now. It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and happy July 4th, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And thank you again to Cindy, and thank you to Gemma, and thank you to everybody who is watching and continues to watch our programming. I announced a little bit earlier that it is now official that we have launched USA Global TV. I got the email this afternoon. So stay tuned for some big things. We're also doing a whole new rebranding, which is coming out slowly. If you happen to go over to my personal Facebook page, Jacalyn Kerbeck, maybe you noticed that the cover photo was different. And if you go to Dr. Jacalyn's interviews on Facebook, maybe you notice that the profile picture is different. So keep looking for these little things as we roll them out. Okay, for tomorrow, let me just tell you what's happening. It's a big day. We have our 9 a.m. show, Life's Amazing Journey, with my friend John Christian. Is on hiatus because John is traveling and I cannot sing like he can, so I think it would be rather disappointing for me to do the show myself. Okay, at 10:30, we have A Better You, lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. And at noon, we have fashion, fitness, travel, and leisure. And these are all Eastern times, by the way. Please add 5 hours for British summertime. And at 1:30, we have I Have a Story to Tell, but it's not my story. At 3:30, we have presenting Pet Psychic Amina. 5 o'clock, stories of hope, inspiration, and overcoming adversity. And our final show for the day and week is the Variety Show. Just a quick couple of announcements. The Variety Show and I Have a Story to Tell are going to be on vacation. They're taking a holiday for the summer. And we are going to have a brand new cooking show, a food and beverage show from Scotland that will be in the place of I Have a Story to Tell. And the Variety Show, there's no replacement because I just need some extra time for myself. So thank you again. Last announcement, we have another brand new show which aired this week with Gemma Stacy. It was amazing. It's called An Audience with Celebrity Psychic Gemma. And Gemma had 2 readings that she provided, people she has never met before. She didn't have any idea if we had any guests or who the guests would be. So I am the keeper of all information when it comes to the guests. If you would like to join us, our show is Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 6 p.m. British Summer Time. Please go over to drjacalyn.com and book your session. A couple of things. If you decide to be a guest on the show, An Audience with Celebrity Psychic Gemma, you may not tell anyone, zip, and you may not post on social media, and you may not contact Gemma. Any of those things happen, and sorry, but You cannot be a guest, because Gemma only wants authentic readings. She takes it very seriously, and I respect her for doing that. So again, go to book your session on drjacalyn.com. That's a wrap for today. I want to say hello to Tony Moore and best wishes for your launch tomorrow of Route 66 when you drop your single. I'm going to end our show with that. Thank you to my charter team presenters, to my co-hosts, and to everybody who's constantly giving back and helping other people. It's all about you. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow.
Your